I am not going to lie to y'all. A 4-day work week screwing me up good. It is just absolutely crazy right now. I get a Monday off, which I really love. And by Thursday, only 3 days back to work, I don't know if I got this crud that's starting to get this crud that's going around or what the heck's the matter with me. I have no idea. But in the meanwhile, we will trudge on. Because why, you ask? Because I am just that kind of a guy. And with that, we say the following. Hi, how are you doing out there in internet land? My name is Brian Trippett. I am known in social media as the Front Porch Conservative, and you have found your way to another session of Chattin on the Porch. We are on Rumble, we are on Twitter, and we are on that quaint little alternative social media platform known as YouTube. So please, if you are not a subscriber to my channel, please go ahead and do so. And also, give a thumbs up, leave a comment below, share the link around, do all those things that only you guys can do that makes this going little concern a going big concern, which, by the way, picked up a ton of subscribers last night. And thank you to everybody who's newly subscribed to the channel after last night. Wasn't exactly the best town hall, but it was a good night for ye old Front Porch Conservative. So thank you much, gang. Anyway, again, my name is Brian Trippett. I am known in social media as the Front Porch Conservative. Sometimes I'm referred to as the beau in the chapeau. Sometimes I'm known as the common man with common sense. But above all else, I am known as your host. We are on Rumble, we are on Twitter, and we are on that quaint little alternative social media platform known as YouTube. And why do I call it quaint? Because they have very funny ideas about what free speech ought to be. So there you go. Whereas Rumble, on the other hand, is all about free speech. God love those boys. But you got to watch out for those Canadians. They might be foreign agents. You never know. Oh, my goodness. We'll get to explanations of that. Good to have you guys here tonight, as always. Gypsy, believe me, I am refusing the crud. Yeah, I need to load up on my vitamin D and my C and my E and my Omnis and my whatever else is. I got to load up on everything. But we're going to make it. Don't you worry about that, Gypsy. We got 60 days to go, sister. And trust me, rub some dirt on it and keep moving. That's exactly my philosophy at this stage. You ain't bleeding. Rub some dirt on it. Let's go. How are you guys doing out there tonight? Let's see who all's in the house so far. TBA says, howdy, Fedora Nation. Nate Silver flipping the poll numbers. Trump prepares for debate against Kamala by going to a bar and arguing with drugs. Oh, God. I saw that link. We'll probably wind up putting that up here in a minute. Oh, my goodness. That's good. WWG1 says, Guten Tag. Guten Tag had a WWG1. Let's see who else is in the house this evening. Now, I saw this comment, and I cannot disagree with you at all. The world is very strange right now. Very strange indeed. Howdy, Midmo. Good to see you. Okay, so you had the crud, and you're over it. All right, well, very good. Very good indeed. Good for you guys. No, I've felt that kind of. I'm not sick, but I'm just tired. I think I'm staying up too late some nights. So as soon as I get through this live stream, I'm going to toddle myself on to bed, try and get me a good night's sleep, see if I can't shake this thing, whatever it is. Anyhow, enough of my ailments and maladies. Let's get down to why we all came here, for a good conversation about what's going on in the news. And oh boy, as usual, have we got stuff to talk about tonight. But as always, we'll start with the merry memes of the day, which are provided by you, our wonderful viewers and listeners. And by the way, keep sending those memes in, or like TBA, he sent me a link to the Babylon Bee, and you know what? It's not a meme, but I'm gonna put this up, because if the boys at the Babylon Bee have done what I think they've done, then by all means we need to check this out. So, and we will. So give me just a second. We're gonna roll that one down. Oh yeah, we gotta do this. Absolutely, we gotta do this. Too funny. Too funny. We'll get to that one here in just a minute. Yeah. WWG1 says, you need a couple of chili dogs, cures everything. Well, as bad as I hate to confess to this, because I'm trying to lose weight, I had a moment of weakness this evening. I found my way to the snack section of a little quick stop and wound up getting my hand on a bag of Tostitos scoops and a jar of Tostitos salsa. And I chowed down on that. And maybe the salsa is helping my sinuses. I don't know. I'm not having more problems. Who knows what's going on? Anyway, we've got stuff to talk about tonight, but we're going to start with the Merry Meme section. And first of all, I want to thank M169. Your car drove itself? No, I'm not lucky enough to have a Tesla WWG1. I drove it, but I, shall we say, I sort of directed it to where I wanted it to go, which was not good for my diet. I know that much. Anyway, all right. First, M169 sent me one interesting meme, and there's all kinds of abbreviations coming up these days. Well, apparently we've now come up with MAP. And if you're wondering what that means, it goes like this: millstone attached person. I don't know about you guys, but I don't think this guy is headed for a good ending here. If the water doesn't get him, his buddy over there with the fins is gonna. Yeah. Yep. Not a good situation to find oneself in. Yeah. So again, thank you to M169 for that one. Very gracious of you to send in. And as always, if you've got memes or funny stories, things that you think will help everybody laugh through the crazy, then by all means, tag me on Twitter and send them on in. Would love to have them. And with that, we move to something provided to us by our good friend TBA from over on Rumble, one of the original Wingnuts. And a lot has been made about how everybody is preparing for the debate coming up this Tuesday night, September 10th, 9 p.m. Eastern, which, by the way, we are going to be live streaming that. And if you think I'm missing that party, you're out of your gourd. Heck no. I'd probably crawl over broken glass to live stream that bad boy. Hopefully my throat won't sound like I'm crawling over broken glass come Tuesday night, but you get my meaning. So everybody's doing all kinds of different things to prepare for the debate. Kamala is holed up in Pittsburgh for the next 4 or 5 days. And by the way, pray for the people of Pittsburgh. I'm just saying, Madam Cackle being in your city for 5 days might be enough to make you crazy. So she's there hanging out, doing her whatever she's doing. TBA says, are Ruben and Darius going to be with you on Tuesday? I haven't talked to him yet, but I'm going to give him the invite. So, Ruben, bless his heart, I want him here, but I'm not going to make him do anything he can't do. Darius, I'll check with Darius. I'd love to have him. Tracy from Keto and Crime is going to be here, and I got a few more people I need to invite, so I got to do some reaching out this weekend. But yeah, we're going to have as much of the usual crew as we can possibly get. Now, Trump on the other hand is doing something a little bit different to prepare for this debate. Good evening, Professor. Glad to have you here, sir, as always. And we've just asked our audience, by the way, to pray for the people of Pennsylvania, given that Kamala Harris is occupying one of your major cities. She's holed up in Pittsburgh all the way till Tuesday. So prayers to you and the people of the Keystone of the Commonwealth, my friend. Prayers to you all in the Commonwealth that your souls survive the occupation. Trump, on the other hand, is doing something a little bit different to prepare for the debate. And, I don't know that this is bad strategy, by the way. This seems like a pretty good idea. According to the Babylon Bee, Trump's preparing for the debate with Kamala by going to a bar and arguing with drunks. How effective this is going to be in the long run, who really knows? But then again, is it that bad of an idea? Things that make you go, Just saying. So we got that story out there, which is kind of pretty good. And I got to thank TBA for that one. Yeah, it does sound like a decent strategy. I mean, heck, how do we know she's not going to be carrying a flask in her suit jacket that night? I mean, seriously, pour a little something in the cup, lubricate the old brain box. There you go. Yeah, it can't hurt at all. Can't hurt. There you go. Anyway, so we got that. Thank you, TBA. That is, as the boys of the B are absolutely funny. Now, this one's kind of a combination of a meme and a thought, and it kind of is going to lead into our first story, along with another meme that we're gonna get into right now. And this is an oldie but a goodie, but I think it's funny. This is from our good buddy Cody, aka Camelot 331, where he says, "And you're a Russian, and you're a Russian, and you're a Russian." There you go. There you go. Oprah is dishing out the Russian, baby. I'll tell you what. With gusto. Look at her throw that finger out there. And you're a Russian, and you're a Russian, and you're a Russian. Mm-hmm. There y'all go, kids. We all Russians. Which leads us to our last merry meme of the night, and this is a pretty good one. That boy is an absolute hoot. He is. If you don't know Cody, or as his social media nickname, Camelot 331, Cody is about as good old boy Southern as it gets. He loves cars, women, drinking. He's the kind of cat you just want to sit down, open up a bottle of something, and just shoot the shit with him. He's nuts. He's nuttier than a Christmas fruitcake, and I love him to death. I reached out to him one time to get him on here for an interview, but with his crazy schedule right now of racing, it's just not exactly happening. So it may be a fall or winter thing, but I definitely want to get Cody on here because he'd be a load of fun to talk to. Yeah, the typical kind of person that the left hates. Southern drinks, loves race cars. Yeah, typical. Now, Kamala Harris is attracting all kinds of help and support. And you heard about the various groups. I did see that. I tell you, ABC, much like every major network, is looking for a way to cut off their own nose to spite their own face. And this is just one more example of it. If you guys haven't heard about this story, I haven't got it pulled up, but I know what she's talking about. Apparently, ABC is, and how ABC is telling Disney what to do in this, I have no idea. Now, lady, behave yourself. Look. Do not make me put you in timeout if Camelot comes on this channel for a conversation. Okay. Now you want to? I'm just giving you grief. I'm just messing with you, but now don't make me put you in timeout if he comes on this channel. Now, I'm just saying. I'm just kidding with you, dear. I love you. But Kamala's getting all kinds of support out there, and y'all have heard about that group called White Guys for Kamala. Oh no, wait, hang on. I gotta finish. Jeez, this is how bad off I am. Yeah, and I saw that too. Haven't got it pulled up. But I know exactly what you're talking about. There is so much stinking news stuff I really want to talk about. I would need I really want to hit the lottery one of these days. I really want to hit the lottery, if for no other reason, to host my live stream 3 hours a day, right in the middle of the day, and have 5 or 6 hours in the morning for show prep, and then time in the evening to decompress and all that good stuff, so I can really do a live stream right. Kind of like my hero Rush used to be able to do it. But anyway. But yeah, to get back to what Gypsy was talking about, let me get this pulled back up so I can get my train of thought back on track. How ABC is doing this, I don't know, but ABC, which is one of the subsidiary companies of the Disney Corporation, is telling Disney that DirecTV cannot show the debate coming up next Tuesday night. Now, do I think that's necessarily going to stop people who use DirecTV from seeing the debate? No, not really, because they're going to get up from their easy chair, go to their computer chair in their office or their study, pop on the internet, and they're going to find a way to watch this thing. I mean, and I'm not trying to be unkind to ABC's executives when I say this, but does it not occur to somebody that they no longer have exclusivity on the presentation of news and information? I mean, this is not the 1970s or the early 1980s anymore. It's not like, there's only ABC, NBC, CBS, PBS, the New York Post, and the Washington Times. I mean, there are a myriad of outlets where someone can acquire information and learn about the news. Now, we can argue about the quality of that, but my point is plenty of places to do it. So why ABC seems to think this is a good idea or is somehow going to get them more people viewing ABC, it does not make a bit of sense to me. Okay. But yeah, I saw the story. I think it's just dumb on the part of ABC. And like I say, how they're telling their parent company, Disney, that do this, I have no idea. That makes no sense to me. But anyway, Kamala and white dudes. Y'all have heard about Dudes for Kamala, right? Well, apparently Kamala now has a new member of Dudes for Kamala. And I don't know, guys. I don't know how she's going to feel about Vladimir Putin endorsing her and coming out so strong as a white dude for Kamala. So, but hey, he's wearing the shirt. There you go. So politics makes for strange bedfellows. And considering that we're talking about Kamala, her and bedfellows is probably not too far of an exaggeration. But anyway, you get my point. So yeah, Putin came out today and endorsed Kamala Harris. I think it's probably look, everybody says that Donald Trump knows how to troll people. I don't disagree with that, but I'll make an argument. Vladimir Putin, if he's not being serious, this is one of the best trolls I've ever heard of on his part as the president of Russia. Oh, goodness. Too funny. Yeah. All right. Now, that meme about Vladimir Putin and his support of Kamala kind of leads me to and back to something we started talking about last night, and I've had a little bit more time to delve into it. I've got an article from NBC, and this a little bit more meat on the bone about this whole situation. You guys have heard about yesterday the Justice Department handing down an indictment of two individuals, employees of RT, which is a Russian-based company, in the opinion of the Department of Justice, funneling $10 million to a Tennessee-based company. Well, there's stuff that was associated with that story, and it's not that I was trying to ignore it. I needed to kind of get my arms wrapped around some of what's going on here. So with that, I want to go to the first article of the night, and this is from NBC News. Russian money was funneled to right-wing creators through a pro-Trump media outlet, prosecutors say. Now, here's the part of the story I didn't necessarily get into last night. Like I said, I think it was Christian that had brought this up to my attention. I was like, okay, let me get it. Let me see if I can dig around and see what I can find out here. Now, keep in mind, this is still coming from NBC News, so it's going to be a little bit biased, but it's going to give you mostly the meat on the bone here. Indictment of two RT employees includes allegations that they implemented a nearly $10 million plan to fund a Tennessee-based company as one of their, quote, covert projects. Okay. Article by Ryan J. Riley, Lisa Rubin, Brandy Zadrozny, and David Ingram. Dateline, Washington. Employees of the Russia-backed media network RT funded and directed a scheme that sent millions of dollars to prominent right-wing commentators through a media company that appears to match the description of Tenet Media, a leading platform for pro-Trump voices, according to an NBC review of charging documents, business records, and social media profiles. The indictment on Wednesday of two RT employees, Konstantin Kalashnikov. Okay, here's where my West Virginian kicks in. So if I don't get these last names right, y'all just look over me, okay? Kalashnikov Kalashnikov, and Elena Asfanizet, unpronounceable name number one, includes allegations that the duo implemented a nearly $10 million plan to fund an unnamed Tennessee-based company as one of their covert projects to influence American politics by posting videos to TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. The company's description matches that of Tenet Media, according to a review by NBC News of details included in the indictment. Prosecutors said that the website of Company One describes itself as, quote, network of heterodox commentators that focus on Western political and cultural issues, the exact same language used by Tenet Media on its website and social media channels. The indictment also states that Company One is registered in Tennessee and changed its name on or about May 22, 2023. Tennessee Secretary of State records found by NBC show that Tenet Media entered its new assumed name on the same date, May 22, 2023. Tenet has partnered with 6 commentators: Lauren Southern, Tim Pool, Taylor Hanson, Matt Christensen, Dave Rubin, and Benny Johnson. The indictment refers to 6 commentators who are not named. Details included in the indictment match those of 2 of Tenet's personalities, Rubin and Pool. As of Wednesday, the Rubin Report YouTube channel had 2.44 million subscribers. The indictment refers to commentator number 1 as having over 2.4 million YouTube subscribers. A person with 1.3 million YouTube subscribers is referenced as commentator 2. Pool has 1.37 million subscribers. The indictment also refers to 3 other commentators, including one with female pronouns, but lacked any information that could directly identify their channels. It is unclear from the indictment the extent to which each of the commentators realized where the money was coming from, though it stated that Commentator 1 and Commentator 2 were unaware that they were being paid by Russian efforts and had been deceived about the source of the funding. It found that $8.7 million was eventually sent to the production companies of Commentator 1 and Commentator 2 and Commentator 3 alone. The payments alleged made up to 90% of the deposits made to the company account between October 22nd and August of 2024. Tenet Media did not immediately respond to a request for comment from NBC News. A representative for RT responded to a request to comment with a series of text messages including and "we got to earn our Kremlin paycheck somehow." Now that's funny. Give me a second and we shall continue, but a tip of the hat to this young lady. Tim Pool said in part in a lengthy statement on Twitter, quote, "Should these allegations prove true, I, as well as other personalities and commentators, were deceived and are victims. I cannot speak for anyone else at the company as to what they do or what they are instructed." Benny Johnson, also on Twitter, said, quote, "A year ago, a media startup pitched my company to provide content as an independent contractor. Our lawyers negotiated a standard arm's length deal, which was later terminated. We are disturbed by the allegations in today's indictment, which make clear that myself and other influencers were victims in this alleged scheme. My lawyers will handle anyone who states or suggests otherwise." Hanson on Twitter, quote, "These allegations come as a complete shock to me and the other host at Tenet Media. I want to be as clear as possible. I was never directed to report on any topic and had complete freedom and control over my reporting at all times. I would never agree to an arrangement where I am the sole person in charge of the stories I cover and the content I create." Rubin, also on Dave Rubin, "These allegations clearly show that I and other commentators were the victims of the scheme. I knew absolutely nothing about any of the fraudulent activity, period." Okay. I want to stop here and give at least some of my perspective, and then I want to give someone else's, because I think that there is some clarification that really needs to be given. And TBA asks over on Rumble asks a very important question, which on its face seems like something you wouldn't really say, but then again, it's valid. And he says the following: "Can I ask, why is this a news item?" TBA, that is a great question. Now, let's stop and lay this out, at least as NBC has put this in here. Okay. I want y'all to think about what NBC just said in this article. The Justice Department is handing down an indictment of two individuals at RT Media, which is a Russian-owned company or Russian-based company. These two individuals paid, or at least gave money to, Tenet Media, which is a United States-based media company. And some of the monies out of that $10 million paid 6 different individuals on social media. These 6 individuals were paid monies, or received monies, I guess. And I guess the monies they received, I guess in part came from this $10 million. Maybe, I don't know. TBA says, so, thank you. Has the Justice Department, and again, I have not read their indictment, so let me be very clear about this up front. Is the Justice Department alleging direct collusion between Tim Pool, Benny Johnson, Dave Rubin, Lawrence Southern, and so on, and the Russian government? Why is RT not being charged directly? I mean, if this is truly what the Justice Department is claiming that it is, let me go back to the very top of this thing to get how NBC has this worded. The indictment on Wednesday of 2 RT employees, Konstantin Kalishnikov and Elena Unpronounceable Name Number 1, includes allegations the duo implemented a $10 million plan to fund an unnamed Tennessee-based as one of their covert projects. Well, how the hell is it covert if everybody seems to know about it? To influence American politics by posting videos to TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. Okay, again, I go back to TBA's question. What law? Well, what it precisely is the DOJ claiming, and the best question of all, what law is being broken? They're claiming the Foreign Agents Relation Act has been violated. Oh, okay. All right. Cool. All right, folks, take note. Danny on direct read through the indictment. Okay. Be curious to know what she thinks about it. I can't say as I follow. I know her name. I can't say as I follow all her stuff, but I'd be interested to get her take on it. But I guess here's my question. So what? Look, if you seem to think that these two individuals, Konstantin Kalishnikov and Elena Unpronounceable Name Number 1, are guilty of something, fine, charge them. But charging them under FARA? How does this make any sense? And by the way, I'm not the only person asking this question. Okay. And before I get to my unofficial guest of the evening, one more piece of information related to all this. U.S. Department of Justice alleges the Tenet Media, which has Benny Johnson, Tim Pool on its roster, received $10 million from the Russian government to publish content as part of the Russian influence operation. Tenet is owned and controlled by Lauren Chen, who's affiliated with Turning Point USA, and her husband, Liam Donovan. Okay. Is the Justice Department laying down some kind of indictment against the Russian government? Look, they charged 2 individuals. They didn't charge RT, at least as far as I know. Okay. They didn't charge RT. They charged 2 individuals who work at RT. They didn't charge the content creators, by the way. And as far as I know, Lauren Chen has not been charged with anything yet. Now, again, I haven't seen all the documents. Don't know. Just saying. Now, if all this sounds a little bit weird, I can't disagree with you. WWG1 says, Natasha gave me money via Boris to sweet talk you, Brian. They want you to say good things about me. Is it working? Well, comrade, I'm not so sure if it's working, but I'll still continue to take the money. Make sure Natasha puts it under the tree stump out in the woods. I'll go get it tomorrow. This is nuts. This is crazy. And I am not the only person that feels this way. Robert Barnes, who y'all know I have immense amounts of respect for his opinion, has been going off on this subject. And frankly, I can't blame him. Okay? But before we get to Barnes's comments, it's the top of the hour. Let me do a real quick commercial. I know that's the tease to set you up. My name is Brian Tripp, and I'm the Front Porch Conservative. Welcome to Chattin on the Porch. We are diving in to a discussion about this whole DOJ indictment of the RT employees and a whole bunch of other things. Now, if talking about items in the news is sort of your cup of tea and you like that sort of thing, do me some favors. Number one, go ahead and subscribe on Rumble and on YouTube. And also, YouTubers, continue to check your subscriptions because I don't like it when YouTube plays games with me. And every so often, I keep getting the feeling that's what they're doing. So go ahead and subscribe on both sides, Rumble and YouTube. Number two, hit the thumbs up on both sides. Number three, leave a comment. Number four, share the link around. You guys are awesome. Smartest audience on the internet. All right. Robert Barnes, attorney extraordinaire, commentator in his own right, content creator, when he heard about this thing that the Justice Department did, he has been going off for 24 hours. And I've got part of his comments, and I want to play it. This runs about 3 minutes, but it's worth every bit of it. Okay. So Barnes was on his locals channel last night, Viva Barnes Law.locals.com. I don't do the impression nearly as well as he does. But Barnes had some stuff to say about this, and I think it's worth considering. With that, give me a sound check as always, kids, and let me know what you think.
So for those that don't know, Justice Department issued an indictment on two Russian citizens because they were investors in Tenet Media. And it's like, hold on a second. So if you're not a U.S. citizen, you can't invest in any content creation company in the United States?
Now, let me stop for 1 second. He's got a valid point here, and he's about to give some examples of this. Think about what's being argued here. These two individuals that are being charged, unpronounceable name number one and her good buddy Constantine, which I'm not going to try and pronounce his last name right now without looking at it. These two individuals are not U.S. citizens. They send $10 million to Tenet Media. So what's the Justice Department trying to argue here? That if you're not a U.S. citizen, you can't invest in a U.S. media company? And with that, we'll go back to Barnes's comments.
Unless you register as a foreign agent? Really? Well, let me know when Carlos Slim, the biggest shareholder of the New York Times, who's a citizen of Mexico, is going to be indicted. When is everybody connected to the BBC, which does massive investments in U.S. content? When are they going to be indicted? When are people connected to Murdoch, some of whom, unlike Murdoch, are still not U.S. citizens? When are they going to be indicted? This is asinine. This is absurd. Being a foreign citizen does not mean you have to register as a foreign agent because you merely invest in a content creation or media company of any kind in the United States. By the way, by this logic, the entire U.S. government could go to prison all around the world because you know who the number one foreign government is investing in content creation, media, and propaganda around the world in other countries? Who meddles the most? It's the United States of America. This is utterly ludicrous. And because some of the content creators on Tenet Media are conservatives, Lauren Chen, Lauren Southern, Dave Rubin, Tim Pool, etc., It's purely a political prosecution. Timing of it is obvious. Right in the heart of the election season, it shows how just overtly, openly, totally, completely partisan and political our entire legal system has become at the federal level. It's more evidence that pretty much everybody at the Department of Justice should be fired and start all over again. Everybody at the FBI, fired, start all over again. Everybody at the CIA, fired, start all over again. Everybody at the NSA, fired, start all over again. This is laughably absurd. This is EU style thinking. This is Brazil judge style thinking. It's just nuts. It's hypocritical beyond all proportion and selective to a degree that's just insane. But it shows how utterly nuts this law is. And remember, before Trump, there had been a total of 6 FARA criminal prosecutions in 50 years. As soon as they used it against Flynn, I said, this is a dangerous, dangerous pattern that they're going to use across the board to try to tie somebody in to a foreign citizen at some level. Here it's the most absurd level. You have investors who are citizens of a foreign nation. That covers pretty much every media company in the world. It's just nuts.
All right, I'm going to stop it right there because I think you guys are kind of getting the point that he's making. But let's go back over some of this, if we may. Barnes uses the example of Carlos Slim, a Mexican citizen who is the biggest shareholder of the New York Times. Is the Justice Department going after Carlos Slim? Because after all, his multi-millions of dollars that he's paying, absolutely. Absolutely. Let's go after Carlos Slim. Let's go after the people at the BBC. Let's go after people in the American government. Did they register as a foreign agent? Since they're apparently investing in media companies around the world? Look. If somehow the Department of Justice can prove in a court of law that these 2 individuals who worked at RT, this $10 million somehow, you can, all right, if you want to make a case and if you've got the evidence to prove it, that this $10 million, is part of some kind of, scheme and the Russian government's directly involved, which, okay, let's see how you're going to prove that. But all right, let's work from the assumption you can. Fine. But why is this being directed at this one company with 60 days to go against 6 of the biggest social media influencers out there on the right side of the spectrum? Now, don't get me wrong. I don't know who's right necessarily, who's wrong. But even on its face, and I think Barnes's points are perfectly legitimate. You may disagree with him, and that's fine. But he's got a valid point here. We're going to use the Foreign Agents Relations Act to justify indicting 2 individuals, non-U.S. citizens, simply because they paid a media company money. Now, Christian, I saw your comment, and I absolutely agree with this. Let's wait, let's listen, let's observe. But that said, even in the midst of doing that, on its face, there's something about this that just doesn't strike right. And I think maybe Barnes is onto something here. And I think you guys are, $10 million is a pittance to these people. Yeah, and in small time, you are absolutely right. If this is the argument the Department of Justice is going to use, then theoretically, every media company in this country that takes money from a foreign investor or a foreign client, you could make the argument everybody's guilty of it. They could shut the whole thing down. TBA over on Rumble says, isn't that obstruction of freedom of speech or the press? Sounds to me like these influencers are getting too close to the truth and the DOJ doesn't like it. Election interference, in my opinion. Brother, you may be onto something. And I mean, I saw Gypsy's comment a little bit earlier. Yeah, I agree with this. They're going after Tucker next. Yeah. Here's another good point from Small Time. BlackRock, other similar multinational firms have parent companies. Yeah. I mean, this is nuts. This is absolutely crazy where we're going here. Good point. And like I said, why now? 61, this indictment came down yesterday, 61 days before the election. Why right now? Oh, well, it took us that long to build the case. Really? Okay. Interesting. There's a couple more comments from Barnes, and I think I want to get them in here. It won't take long. Do me a favor, folks. Check out the rest of this.
Are they going to, I mean, Elon Musk was originally a South African citizen before he became a U.S. citizen. You know, Chris Pavlovsky is Canadian. Is now Rumble paying people also Foreign Agents Registration Act violation? Has anybody thought through how nuts this is? How dangerous this is? How threatening to constitutional liberty it is? Unbelievable. This law should be absolutely scrapped. And instead, you have all these conservatives on the, oh, we're so scared. We're so sorry. We didn't know. Quit acting like a bunch of wusses. Attack the Justice Department for the political hacks and constitutional violating thieves that they are. That's what you should do. Don't be, oh, golly gee, I wish, give me a break.
Okay, now right here, I'm going to disagree with Barnes, okay? And I may be a small-time content creator, but I'm just going to say this. I can kind of understand the reaction they're having, okay? Look, it took some of these people years to build what they have. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that they're not big boys and girls, they can take care of themselves, but there's a lot on the line for these guys, and they're getting smacked in the face with something that's just coming out of the blue at them, okay? I just, you know, I don't totally agree with Barnes here. Give them a little bit of grace. Like I said, they're getting hit hard, blindsided. You know, going to read the indictment in full. Part of me finds it hard to believe that the entire basis of their case is just foreign investors. If that's the case, they will lose in court. Could be. We'll see. I mean, I think you're right. Let's read, let's look, let's research, let's wait for everything to come out. But if that's the basis of the argument, that they're going to use FARA as the justification to go after two individuals simply because they invested money in a media company in America, oh boy, are we headed for a whole lot of problem. A whole lot. Influencers. Tucker grew up at the CIA. Tucker has contacts in deep states, so it's a little more difficult to go after him. But oh yeah, I agree with that. I agree. And yeah, I understand this reaction, Robert. I totally get it. Totally. Yeah, and I mean, like I say, you can disagree with Barnes, and like I said, there's still stuff that's going to come out about this. And like I said, I don't fault Tim Pool or Benny or anybody else on this one. Okay? Like I said, they're getting hit blindsided with this one. And the reaction, I think, is from their perspective kind of appropriate. You know? I mean, they don't necessarily have all the ins and outs of the legal matters that Robert Barnes does. And I'm not necessarily trying to get on Barnes here about this, but, you know, give him a little bit of grace in this moment. Just saying. Now, like I said, Barnes has been going off about this all day long, so I just want to show you a few more of his tweets about this, and we'll just pop through these real quick. The same people telling you that Tenet Media is a Russian intel op are the people who told you Russia blew up its own pipeline, Hunter's laptop was Russian disinformation, that Putin elected Trump in 2016, and Russia caused Brexit. Okay. Point of the indictment is to aid Democrats during the election and intimidate dissident speech by eviscerating the First Amendment through FARA abuse. It shows just how out of control the Justice Department is. No, sir, I do not think it is a coincidence. And welcome to the party, my friend. Glad to have you on the electronic front porch. I think I've seen you here a time or two before, but glad to have you back if you're coming back, and glad to have you here for the first time if you're here for the first time. But no, I don't think it's a coincidence at all. Not in the slightest. And I absolutely agree with this. Absolutely. Few more tweets from Mizzier Barnes. Wonder why the DOJ didn't indict the company. That's a good question. That's a real good question. Why didn't they go after Tenet Media? And Barnes answers his question because Mueller's scam Russiagate indictment, the prequel, got exposed as BS because the company appeared in the case, demanded discovery, and the DOJ had to drop the entire indictment. Odds the funding source is closer to Langley than Moscow. Like I said, Barnes has been on a roll about this. Okay. So that's just some of the reaction. Like I say, this has got a long way to go. Oh, yeah, you're right. I'm sorry. You are right, my dear. 60 days. 60 days. And this is a real good point, too. Like Trump's multiple lawsuits, this is lawfare, and USA has a huge piggy bank. You are absolutely right, Gypsy. TBA asks, the administration doesn't want freedom of speech in our country. This is just another shot across the bow to take it away from us. Answer me this. How is the DOJ going to force these foreigners to show up in court? Good question. WWG1 says, I can build a house all by myself in less time, and I have never built a house. Oh, okay. Okay. There you go, folks. Yeah, this is true, too. This is very true. They ignored Dianne Feinstein's driver for all those years and Swalwell banging Fang Fang. So there you go. Anyway, like I say, there's going to be more about this story that comes out over time, but definitely keep an eye on this one because I think Barnes is absolutely onto something here. And again, we don't know the whole story. You know, we don't know all the ins and outs yet, but I can't disagree with Barnes. If they're using FARA as the basis to like go after people simply for investing in a media company, that's a problem. And if this is being used as intimidation against Tim and Benny and Dave and Lauren and all the rest of them, which again, this is the Department of Justice, I wouldn't put it past them. I hate to say that about my own government, but I really wouldn't put it past them. Truth of the matter is our foreign adversaries would rather see Yeah, and Hunter was never charged with FARA. Should have been. If anybody should have been charged with FARA, it should have been Hunter Biden. Well, no, it's all right, dear. That's all right. I'm translating. You're good. Good evening, Miss Tracy. How are you, darling? Glad to have you here. Pull up a chair. Seabass is in the house. Oh my goodness, we're going to get a full house tonight. Woohoo! Baby. All right. So let us shift gears to a different compartment on the train, as we'll say. And did you guys happen to hear about Donald Trump's speech today at the Economic Club of New York? I didn't get to hear the whole speech. Like a lot of people, I caught excerpts of it, but I tell you what, just the stuff that I saw, this was a home run on so many different levels. like a lot of people, I've been arguing the best way for Trump to win this election, one of them, not to say it's the only way, but one of the best ways he can do it is lay out a vision of what you want to do in a second term and contrast that to Kamala Harris's policy positions. Now, I would say contrast him to Joe, but Joe's not the candidate anymore. So yeah, we got that going on. Okay. But Trump laid out some very, very serious policy proposals today. And I tell you what, from the perspective of somebody like me that's been saying, Trump, give me policy. Tell the American people what you want to do. Tell them why you should get a second term. This speech, that he got served up a fastball and he hit the thing clear out over center field fence. A good 450 yards. Probably out of the park. Pulled a Mickey Mantle. Okay? Just an amazing speech. The parts of it that I heard. The policy proposals are great. And we'll get to those here in just 1 second. But since it's 20 after 8, I'm going to do a real quick commercial. Hi, how are you doing out there in internet land? You have found your way to the electronic front porch, and I am the front porch conservative, otherwise known as Brian Trippett. If you like talking about the news, if you like giving your views, if you like laughing and crying, or doing both all at the same time when you talk about the news, then why don't you do me a favor? Go ahead and subscribe to my channel on YouTube and Rumble. Also, give a thumbs up, leave a comment below. It tends to help with the algorithm. Share the link around, and you know what? We'll grow this thing into something big, which it's getting there, baby. We're getting close to 1,000. You can smell it in the distance. You can see that big old sign that says 1000 right up ahead. So come on and join. So there you go. All right, we got some excerpts from Trump's speech, and I'm going to play a few of them. They run 30 minutes, 2 minutes. This first one I want to play because it really sets up a lot of what we're going to hear next. So this is Trump, and I think you guys are going to get a kick out of this. So do me a favor, check this one out.
To be the only president in modern history to achieve a net regulatory reduction during my term, and it was a substantial reduction, and for every regulation we added, we cut more than 5.5 regulations. We unleashed American energy, and within 3 years, we had increased domestic oil production by 47%, and we were just getting started. The price of gasoline was $1.87 a gallon. Doesn't that sound good right now? We negotiated and renegotiated more than 50 trade agreements with other countries that were taking advantage of us, as they all do, to protect the American worker and to open foreign markets, and we did a great job. I ended NAFTA, the worst trade deal ever made in the history of our country, and replaced it with the USMCA, perhaps the best trade deal ever made in history. That's Mexico and Canada. I stood up to China like no one else before me. No one came even close. And I saved the U.S. auto industry from obliteration with a 27.5% tariff on all Chinese cars that remains in place to this day. They want to take it off, but they can't because, number one, it's too much money, and number two, we would be invaded by Chinese cars on top of the other invasions that are taking place. Without it, our auto industry would be dead. And now I am going further. We will bring our automaking industry to the record levels of 37 years ago, and we'll be able to do it very quickly through tariffs and other smart use of certain things that we have that other countries don't.
Now,
I'm proud to be.
I play this for a specific reason. I have said for the longest time, Trump, because Donald's calling me up on the phone. Hey, Front Porch, what do you think I ought to be doing in this campaign? Well, Donald, let me tell you. Trump, you've got to, two things. Remind people of what you did. And secondly, tell them what you're going to do. The first sets up the second. my point. Tell them, remind them of what you did. Have y'all heard that not old country song? Have you heard that country music song, that duet between Brad Paisley and Carrie Underwood? It's called Remind Me. Now, for a country music song, it's actually, the video and the song are actually pretty steamy. I won't say risque, but steamy for a country music song. But basically, it's two people who've been together for a very long time, and they're talking to each other about days and passions gone by, and they keep looking at each other saying, remind me of the things that we did to just, you get where I'm going with this. Okay. That's what Trump needs to do here. Remind the American people of what he did that made them like and love his presidency. He took on China. He put tariffs on Chinese cars. He took on Mexico. He secured the border. Gasoline prices were low. Grocery prices were low. Okay? And then, having reminded everybody of why they like and loved your presidency, tell them why you want a second term. Because if you do the first one right, the second one falls right into place. The American people are going to be like, oh, yeah, baby. You absolutely made my life a lot of fun. Heck yeah, let's do that again for another 4 years. You see where I'm going with this? And that little 2-minute snippet is exactly what I'm talking about. Tell people what you did. Tell them. Remind them. Like I say, if you ever get the chance to find that song and that video out on YouTube of Carrie Underwood and Brad Paisley, recommend that one to you, but you might want to keep a block of ice handy because you might need to sit down after you watch that thing. Woo! Just saying. Okay, let's move on to the next clip. And this one is one of the best things I think Trump did during that whole speech. He laid out a new proposal today that, oh baby, now this might take a little bit to work the bugs out on it, but if Trump gets this done in a second term, and he can sell this to the American people, which Trump can sell sweat socks to a polar bear. But if Trump gets this message out in Michigan, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, Ohio, hell, I'll even argue Illinois. He gets this out, winning this election is going to be a whole lot easier. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, do me a favor and check this out.
My plan calls for expanded R&D tax credits, 100% bonus depreciation, expensing for new manufacturing investments, and a reduction in the corporate tax rate from 21% to 15% solely for companies that make their product in America.
Now, did you catch that? Okay, we're going to drop your corporate tax rate from 21 to 15%, but only if you're making your product here in America. Now that is pardon my language, that is a hell of a good idea. Okay, look, we've been talking about trying to find a way to get manufacturers to come back from overseas. Here's one idea. Sure, we'll cut your corporate tax rate down to 15%. Just one catch. You got to manufacture your stuff inside the U.S. Now, every business is different. Every business is structured differently. And how long it would take to get companies from overseas back into the good old USA, I have no idea yet. But I tell you what, we put that in there. You got a major big old incentive for companies to just come on home. Bring them all home, boys. Bring on them jobs. Bring them on back home. We got places in the Rust Belt that are just rusting. We'll take the rust right off them. We'll retool the buildings, and you boys can just crank it right up. Joe 56984 over on Rumble with a Rumble rant. Thank you very much. Yes, Trump needs to remind everyone of the good times during his presidency. Kamala is Joe Biden 2.0, likely even worse. She's everything people hated about Biden on steroids. Cheers from Arizona. Well, Joe, cheers to you, my brother. And no, I'm not drinking whiskey. This is Diet Coke. Smooth. Oh my goodness, look who just strolled in. Oh, or to borrow a line from a country song, mercy, look what just walked through that door. Hello, TROUBLE. Good evening, Miss Jessica. Mwah. Gorgeous. Hello. And by the way, subscribe to Forest Mommy's YouTube channel, daggone it, and her Rumble channel. This young lady, and I mean, and I lovingly flirt with her all the time, but I'm serious with what I'm about to say next. Jessica is really one of the best at standing up for local government and local governance, and she is fearless out in Colorado. Love that girl to death. So absolutely subscribe to that young lady. I am not. I'm giving you everything you deserve, and you know it because you're hot. Well, among other reasons. Anyway, checks. I love you, dear, and you don't have to pay me a thing. I'd do it anyway. All right. So thank you for the Rumble rant, Joe. Thank you, Jessica, for strolling on in. But yeah, this is a great idea. Look, you want to get manufacturing back here? Okay. We'll cut your tax rate down to 15%. Just one catch. You got to make it here. We'll see how that kicks in. Now, we got some other clips. This is a really good one, which, by the way, Trump dropped a big old bomb. With this one, and, it deserves to be played in its entirety. He's going to enlist the help of some heavy hitters. Check this one out.
At the suggestion of Elon Musk, who has given me his complete and total endorsement. That's nice. Smart guy. He knows what he's doing. It's very, very much appreciated. I will create a government efficiency commission tasked with conducting a complete financial and performance audit of the entire federal government and making recommendations for drastic reforms. We need to do it. Can't go on the way we are now. And Elon, because he's not very busy, has agreed to head that task force. Be interesting. If he has the time, it'll be a good one to do it.
Yeah. As if the idea of Donald Trump and RFK Jr. and Tulsi Gabbard being involved in the second term isn't enough. Now you throw Elon Musk into the mix. I take Elon with a grain of salt. So just saying, Seabass, I get where you're coming from. I'm just saying. So yeah, Trump's just dropping bombs all over the place in this speech and having himself a good time doing it. Like I say, these policy prescriptions are solid as a rock. Good stuff all the way around. Now, I am going to play one that I'm not really fond of the idea, and I'll tell you why here in a minute. And I get that Trump wants to do all kinds of stuff, but this one bugs me, and I'll tell you why here in a minute, okay? This one runs about a minute and a half, and I'm going to play it in its entirety, but this one kind of worries me, and I'll tell you why. Let me let you guys hear this.
They want to close down our power plants, and we don't have power already to address this dire energy crisis that Kamala and Joe have created. I will immediately issue a national emergency declaration to achieve massive increase in domestic energy supply. What you're going to need. Electricity is desperately needed for AI controversial, but we got to be the top of it. And we would need, hard to believe, twice the electricity that we currently have right now for everything in order to be dominant. And China is already building massive electricity producing plants. We haven't even thought about it. We will think about it, and I'll get it done on an emergency basis. So we'll be the leader in AI and every other form of technology. With these sweeping authorities, we will blast through every bureaucratic hurdle to issue rapid approvals for new drilling, new pipelines, new refineries, new power plants, new electric plants, and reactors of all types. Prices will fall immediately in anticipation of this tremendous supply that we can create rather quickly, and we'll be the leader instead of the laggard. Second,
Okay, here's my problem with this, and let me put this in context. Do I disagree with the idea of building more power plants? Heck no. Do I disagree with the idea of using nuclear power to help give us electric generation? Heck no. I got no problem with that if it's done right. Do I disagree with the idea of coal-fired power plants? Heck no. Got no problem with any of that. Do I disagree with the idea of slashing regulation? Heck no. Government's too bureaucratic anyway. Where my problem starts in all this is on the front end. I'm going to use the National Emergency Declaration. See, this makes me nervous. I know that the end would be good. More electricity in America, cheaper electric prices for the consumer, more electricity for technology. I don't disagree with any of the ends. It's the means by which you get there that's scaring the crap out of me. We're and we've been doing it for years. It's been going on for decades. We're consolidating more and more power in one man or woman in the executive branch, and Congress is just getting cut out of it. Well, they're either getting cut out of it or they're letting themselves be cut out of it. But where is the congressional authority for this stuff? Because today you have a president like Trump who would be good in using a national emergency declaration. Now, what if you got somebody else down the line that says, climate change is, we need a national emergency declaration to deal with the climate crisis, or whatever the hell it is kind of emergency declaration you got out there. See, again, I don't disagree with the ends. It's the means of getting there that scares me to death. Yeah, I know, dear. I absolutely agree with you. Absolutely agree with you. You know, WWG1 says, this is the way to get there if we are already at war. Law of war manual. Okay. In time of war or pandemic, I could have lived with that. Didn't really like it, but I could have understood. You know, but yeah, it's stuff like that's, again, love the ends, hate the means, and that's my problem with that. But one more clip, and this one may be the cherry on top of the cake. Okay, this is good. Trump dropped this is a mic drop moment. Okay, this runs about 1 minute, but this is great. I found this one. I was like, I love this. Robert, I love you. I absolutely love you. Oh, mercy. Yeah, we need an unfucking act. Anyway, here's the cherry on top of the cake for this speech.
Make this into an incredible country that can afford to take care of its people, and then we'll worry about the rest of the world. Let's help other people. But we're going to take care of our country first. This is about America first. It's about make America great again. We have to do it because right now we're a failing nation.
Okay, I'm going to stop it right there. I could let it run for a little while longer, but did you catch what he said? Look, we're going to take care of our country first, then the world. When's the last time you heard an American president actually say something like that? And frankly, should that not be the standard? One of the biggest standards that we judge somebody as to whether they should be president or not? I mean, it almost goes without saying, you shouldn't even have to use that standard to measure whether someone should be president or not. But after some of the administrations we've had, Obama, Biden, yeah, I'm ready to start putting that one as like one of the top things. Are you going to take care of America first? You're going to take care of everybody else. Finally, we've got a presidential candidate, again, who's like, okay, we'll take care of the world, but only after we take care of our country first. Why is that concept foreign? Oh, yeah, they want to take care of the globalists first, but not us. No, not the American citizen. Nope, 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 nope. Can't do that. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Blocked ad runner over on Rumble says, refer to his first term, even with the majority, the rhinos screwed up everything, screwed up getting rid of Obamacare. Legislators screw around too much, trying to get a piece of the pie for their interest. Yep. Absolutely. Anyway, that's just some stuff from Trump's speech, which, like I said, I thought he hit some real home runs in this speech. Now, the contrast. What does Kamala want to do? This is from Mario Nafal. Kamala proposes to raise the capital gains tax to 33%, far above global averages. This is significantly higher than China's 20% and Europe's average of 18%. This hike would bring the combined federal state rate above 40% in many states and could severely impact small business owners and families. The plan also includes removing the stepped-up basis at death, introducing a second layer of taxation. Critics argue this proposal echoes the economic policies of the late 1970s and could lead to severe economic backlash. So there's your contrast, folks. And Trump did today what he needed to do. Remind everybody why they liked Trump's first term and then tell them what Trump's going to do in the second. And having done that, show them what Kamala. Yeah, and I think it was up in Connecticut said, yeah, it's exactly. Let me find her line. Where is it, darling? Yeah, can't wait for. Yeah, let Kamala respond to Trump's speech. I want to see that. Yeah, and he contrasted her policies on the topic, and yep, he hit home runs doing it. Absolutely, he did. Now, there is one more thing as an aside that I want to talk about, kind of related to Trump's speech. I have been frustrated to no end with Kamala Harris. Now, I know me making that statement, y'all sitting out there going, well, of course you'd be frustrated with her. You're the front porch conservative. You don't like any of her policies. Yeah, that's absolutely true. But you want to know the frustration with me? At least have the good damn decency to tell people what your policies are. But today, one of her spokesmen did something. He let the cat out of the bag. It's something that we already know. But for normies out there, he let the cat out of the bag. And I have got to play this. If I don't, it'd be criminal. Ian Sams used to work at the White House. He's now shilling for the Harris-Walz campaign. Was on CNN, and he had the following. And this was this morning. He had the following to say. Now, I want you to listen very carefully to what he says. Okay, listen very carefully. Now, I'm going to stop this just when I think I need to, but listen very carefully.
We've got 60 days until the election. We don't have time to sit around and think about why over the last few years certain things may have happened or may not have happened.
Hold it right there. Stop right there. That's it. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to play that again. It's 8 seconds, and they let the cat out of the bag. I'm sorry for yelling at you guys. I'm not yelling at you. I'm just yelling at this. He let the cat out of the bag. This has been, and we've all known this in one form or another. We've all said it in one form or another. But for 8 seconds, Ian Sams of the Harris-Walz campaign just let go what their strategy is. How can Kamala get to the White House? It's very simple. Listen again to what he just said, and then I'm going to illuminate on this.
We've got 60 days until the election. We don't have time to sit around and think about why over the last few years certain things may have happened or may not have happened.
Yep. No, big boy. You just stop right there. Yes, we do. We do have time to stop and think about why things have happened the way they have or why they haven't happened the way they have. But if you and your boss, Kamala, have their way about it, you won't let the American people think about what has happened and why it hasn't happened or why it has happened. You don't want them thinking about it. You don't want them realizing that your boss, Kamala Harris, was the one that signed off on the Inflation Reduction Act. She was the tie-breaking vote. And then when Joe Biden signed it into law, inflation took off like a rocket. You don't want people knowing or thinking about the fact that Kamala Harris has said she was the last person in the room with Joe Biden when the decisions on Afghanistan were being made. Decisions that got 13 of our kids killed. Ladies and gentlemen, he just let go the strategy. We don't have time to think about this. We don't have time to try and figure out why they want everybody to gloss right over it. They don't want the American people to realize she's been there all along and is just as responsible as Joe Biden. That's what he's trying to get you to do. Memory hole it. Don't think about it. Don't think about the fact that Kamala's been involved in it up to her eyebrows for the past 3.5 years. Don't stop and consider that she's been a part of the executive branch since January 20, 2021. He just let the cat out of the bag. We don't have time to think about that. We've got an election to win. Oh, no, sir. No, sir. We will think about it. We will tell the American people her responsibility in all this. We will tell her and tell the people what she has done and what she has not done. And if you think I'm a big mouth, I can introduce you to a guy named Donald John Trump who for the next 60 days is going to make sure everybody knows what she's done. And if he's not doing it, I can name a whole bunch of social media influencers and podcasters who are guaranteed on the TU going to tell you what she's done. We don't have time. Shut up, soy boy. We don't have time to think about how things have worked out the way they have or why they haven't. We've got an election to win. Shut up, dillweed. Oh my God. There it is, folks. That's the strategy. Do not think about what Kamala Harris has or has not done for the past 3.5 years. We've got an election to win. Joy. Kamala. Joy. Don't let them get away with it, folks. Don't you dare let them get away with it. Tell your friends, tell your frenemies, tell your mothers, tell your brothers, tell your lovers, tell your sisters, tell your misters. Don't you dare let them get away with it. Well, now, how could we possibly forget that she's a black woman? Dear Lord, how could we forget? Block Dad Runner over on Rumble says, most voters historically have a very short memory. Yeah, that's true, but 60 days is just long enough. No, I did not see this. Oh, yeah, I forgot. Kamala is black and Southern. How could we possibly forget that? Anyway, sorry if I went on a rant, folks, but that was just, blech. Okay. What time is it? 10 minutes to 9. Just enough time for some nightcaps. So kids, get your glasses ready. We're going to fill them up and we're going to have a couple or 3 news nightcaps. Send it. Okay. Send me the grasshopper. If somebody's got it, send it to me. WWG1, you just dropped me something over on the Rumble side. Is that it? Is that Is that the Kennedy and the grasshopper thing? What is this? I got to check this out. Hang on. Hang on, folks. WWG. Okay, it's not that. Okay. What did you send me, you son of a gun?
Hey!
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Okay. It's Ren and Stimpy. Okay. All right. Okay. Sorry about that, folks. I get a little distracted sometimes. Okay. We got some news nightcap stuff. Have you guys heard about what's going on in New York City? Okay. All right. You know what? We were all kids once. Why not? This was probably the best way to describe the Kamala Harris campaign theme song.
Do wonderful things for my best friend, Stimpy. Oh, joy!
Well, there you go, folks. There you go. Happy, happy, joy, joy, happy, happy. Yeah, buddy. Yeah. Mid-mo. All right. Did you guys hear about what's going on up in New York City? Oh my gosh. The Pete Moss is hitting the fan up there. Check this out from the New York Post. This is our first news nightcap item. Feds raid the home of the New York Police Commissioner Edward Cabin, other close Adams allies. Story by Craig McCarthy, Larry Salino, and Matt Troutman. Federal agents targeted New York Police Department Commissioner Edward Caban and other top officials in the nation's biggest police force amid a stunning spate of raids against Mayor Eric Adams' inner circle, sources said Thursday. Agents showed up at the homes of Caban and Deputy Mayors Phil Banks and Sheena Wright with search warrants early Wednesday and seized their electronic devices, according to law enforcement sources. Another top Adams aide, Timothy Pearson, had his phone subpoenaed, according to the sources. Phil Banks' brother Terrence Banks, a former MTA official and current lobbyist, was also targeted in the action, sources said. Wright shares a home in Harlem with Phil and Terrence Banks' brother David Banks, who is the city's school chancellor. It's unclear if the raid targeted one or both of them. None of them have been accused of any crime. The connections between the raids, subpoenas, and other law enforcement sweeps remain murky Thursday, though sources said Caban and the other NYPD officials were targeted as part of a sweeping corruption probe involving influence peddling. Ooh. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Blocked ad runner over on Rumble says, not corrupt Democrat politicians. How can that be? I know, blocked ad runner. What can I tell you? Okay, I have been sent the grasshopper. Uh-oh. Now this should be interesting. Hang on a minute, guys. We have another news nightcap. All right. Yeah. Hang on, guys. I found it, Miss Gypsy. Thank you very much. And okay, this is what we're going to use to close out the night. So yeah, Gypsy, thank you very much. I've got it. We've got it tuned up. So yeah, we got Department of Justice raiding New York City officials' houses up in the Big Apple. Don't know where this one's going, but this is going to be pretty good. Now, the other big story that's kind of hanging out there right now. Oh, kids, have you heard about this? Steven Crowder has been saying for the longest time that he had a hold of something pretty good. Well, he dropped it. And boy, what he dropped. baby. Check this one out. Top Manhattan U.S. Attorney's Office spokesperson blasts DA Bragg over Trump prosecution in secret recording. Quote, "The case is nonsense," by columnist Miranda Devine, which, by the way, if you're not reading Miranda, you really need to check it out. A top Department of Justice spokesman in New York was caught on a hidden camera ripping Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg for his recent prosecution of former President Donald Trump, accusing Bragg of conducting lawfare just to further his own political ambitions. Nicholas Baez, chief spokesman for the Manhattan U.S. Attorney's Office, was secretly recorded tearing into progressive prosecutor during a recent conversation with a so-called undercover operative from conservative podcaster Steven Crowder's, quote, Mug Club. "Honestly, I think the case is nonsense." Bias was filmed saying to an unidentified woman on July 31st at what appears to be a bar. The edited clip and another from August 14th were released by Crowder on social media Thursday. The identity of the woman who secretly recorded the exchange with Baez was not made public. The Post has not reviewed the full unedited recordings. Baez, who said he's known Bragg for 15 years and previously worked with him at the Southern District of New York, described the unprecedented hush money case against Trump as a perversion of justice in the footage. He also claimed the headline-grabbing prosecutor pursued the case to make a name for himself and run for higher office. Quote, "He wants to be something, I don't know, a mayor? I'm not sure what he wants to be, but I know he's not happy just being the DA of New York County. Before he decided to prosecute Trump, did you know who he was? You know now." The unapologetic Baez told the Post in a statement Thursday he made the remarks in a private setting with someone he just met and was trying to impress. Oh, there's the justification. At one point in the video, Baez accused Bragg of, quote, stacking charges against Trump like rearranging things just to make a case fit. Trump, who was convicted of 34 charges for falsifying business records over payments made to a porn star ahead of the 2016 election, is scheduled to be sentenced on September 18th. Quote, "This guy is probably going to try and lock him up," talking about Trump, "and it's going to be ugly," Baez said in an apparent reference to Manhattan Supreme Court Judge Juan Marchand, who's overseeing the case. "They are so obsessed with getting him." Oh, yeah. This clip, it runs about 15 minutes on social media, has been making the rounds. I really recommend this to you. Really do. All right. A couple more things. There's been another Joe Biden sighting. Yes, that's right, folks. Joe Biden is alive. He's not dead. He's giving a speech today, and I guess his senility must have had like a low ebb moment because he let go a truth bomb that is not helping Kamala. And with that, I'll let you hear this 17-second clip from the President of the United States.
My investments, through my investments, the most significant climate change law ever. And by the way, it is a $369 billion bill. It's called we should have named it what it was, but at any rate.
In other words, ladies and gentlemen, the so-called Inflation Reduction Act had nothing to do with reducing inflation. It had to do with the Green New Deal. You know, I have said this before, and I'll say it again. I get the distinct impression that Joe is either trying to find a way to do it or he is actively doing it. He is trying to find a way to sabotage Kamala. I swear I think he is. And I don't think it's accidental. I really do believe it. If he can put the screws to her, he's going to do it. And it's stuff like this that really makes me think he's doing it. Anyway. All right, one last thing, and this was provided by Gypsy. A lot of people have made much of Robert Kennedy Jr.'s physicality, physique, his skills for a 70-year-old man. Well, let me tell you something. This guy is absolutely on the case. And his senses and his skills are so sharp at 70 years old. That man, I don't know about, if he's faster than a speeding bullet or if he can leap tall buildings at a single bound, but I know this much. He can absolutely give a grasshopper an absolute run for its money. Ladies and gentlemen, check this one out.
That's called a bird grasshopper. Here he is. These grasshoppers, I'm going to let them go. These grasshoppers are actually quite large, but they have 2 generations each summer, and then they overwinter in this big adult phase like that. And don't worry, I'm not hurting them now.
I don't know. I wouldn't want to be the grasshopper in this case.
I'm going to let them out of here. When you first catch them, they spit tobacco. That's what we used to say when we were kids. They have this brown liquid that they spit out of their mouths. Anyway. I just found
anybody who says that Robert Kennedy Jr. does not care about the environment, hey, the guy wouldn't even harm a grasshopper. Yeah, he really does. I mean, it's kind of scary. I mean, he says he's not hurting the grasshopper. I wouldn't want to be the grasshopper in that case. Just saying. Yeah, spitting tobacco juice. Yeah, there you go. All right, gang, let's bring this train into the station. I tell you what, I was feeling, I do these live streams for a lot of reasons, but I think sometimes it's to find my energy again. And I'm not going to lie, I'm feeling a little better than dead. We'll see what happens after the live stream comes to an end. But I thank you guys for helping me find my juice again. Give me some energy, some pep. You guys are awesome. I mean, I say it all the time, but I genuinely mean it. I love you guys. I really do. And to the best of my ability, I will always try to give you guys a good live stream that's informative and fun and, helps us all get through this crazy thing we call life. And man, we had some real surprises tonight. I want to thank Tracy from Keto and Crime for stopping by. Lovely Miss Jessica, Forrest Mommy. We had Joe stop by over on Rumble. Thank him for the Rumble rant. Thank everybody who's here tonight. You guys are just totally awesome. We were going to be back this Saturday morning, 10:30 a.m. for Front Porch Brunch. Tell your friends. And again, if you're not subscribed to my channel, please go ahead and do so. I would love to have your support. You guys are just the best audience on the internet. And we're going to grow this thing into something big and beautiful and awesome, and you guys are just tremendous. Don't forget, hit the thumbs up on the way out. My dear and my lovely, not just no, hell no. Not after last night. Anyway, I love you guys. We'll see you Saturday morning at 10:30 a.m. Thank you for being the best audience on the internet. You guys are just completely and totally awesome. And as we bring this train into the station, remember the words of that great American philosopher, Tom T. Hall. It's faster horses, younger lovers, older whiskey, more money. I love you guys. Have a great Friday. We'll see you Saturday morning at 10:30 a.m.